Two, one. Welcome to the All Ball Podcast. It is Tuesday, February 15th. I am your host, Joseph Shelton, here with my co-host.
Late Schwager, let's go.
In hour one of today's episode, we will be discussing the Super Bowl and all the surrounding narratives. We will do a full breakdown of the game, as well as how this game stacked up against past Super Bowls. In hour two, we will discuss the new NBA power rankings following the trade deadline. And with recent speculation around the retirement of Aaron Donald, we will debate where he ranks all time and how this Super Bowl affects the legacy of other players involved. Lastly, we will wrap up with the major headlines from around sports, as well as an Olympic update. This is the All Ball Podcast. Welcome, everybody. Dang, what a Super Bowl, man. What a game.
What a season! What a playoff run! Fun fact.
True.
Fun fact. After wildcard weekend, so from every game on to the divisional round on, every single game except the Chiefs-Bills game that was a walk-off was a 3-point win.
God damn.
Every game. So that's how many in a row? So we ended the year on 7 playoff games with either walk-offs or field goal,
Dang,
point wins.
that's crazy, yo.
Yeah. Dude, betting the covers on the dogs really freaking was the strategy this playoffs. Holy.
I did it a lot.
Yeah.
I did it quite a bit, so it worked out. Yeah, so this is kind of a funny story. So when I was watching the game, we were coming back we had a ski race in Duluth this weekend. So we were on our way back to Madison, and I don't know, about 8 to 10 of us stopped to watch the game. We stopped in Rice Lake, Wisconsin, and we were at this bar. And one of my friends on the team, he's a super big Bengals fan. And he's a freshman. So we were just giving him crap the entire time. But at the end, we were rooting so hard for the Bengals with him, dude. Dude, it was heartbreaking, bro. That was heartbreaking. Like, feels good for Matthew Stafford, but the way that ended was just heartbreaking.
Bro, in the moment, you can be looking at it as a bad thing for Bengals fans, for their franchise. But they are so young that I would expect them to at least make another Super Bowl under Joe Burrow. Or for Joe Burrow to at least make a couple more.
Oh, for sure. They'll win one. That's what I said. That's what I said after the game. I said to him, I was like, dude, what you got to realize, Joe Burrow is so good, dude. He is so good. And you have him for the next 15 years minimum.
Yeah,
he's just phenomenal.
Especially you look in their division. Steelers are on the decline, the down slope. Browns are kind of, I don't know, whatever, I guess. I guess I would say they declined a little bit this year, but I don't think their expectations were super high going into the year. And the Ravens obviously declined. And a lot of that was due to injuries, but you look at it ever since Lamar's MVP season, he's really never been the same. So people could say the league's figured out Mahomes and all that stuff. No, the league's figured out Jackson.
That's true. No, you're right. You're definitely right.
So they're looking in, and a lot of people consider them one of the best divisions in the NFL. But a huge part of that is probably because their best team in that division made the Super Bowl, not because all around that it's an insane division.
And also now, so Baker is what he is. We've talked about him. Now Ben's leaving, so the Steelers I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. And whatever. The Bengals definitely have the highest ceiling in that division for the next 5 years, and then potentially for just the rest of Joe Burrow's career, potentially. So yeah, they're gonna be fine. Um, Big takeaways from the game. So the way I saw it, this was kind of an interesting game. Like it had a couple like defined sections to it. So at first, Odell was just tearing the Bengals defense up. Like Odell was unguardable in the first part of the game. He got that early touchdown, which was a phenomenal catch. Um, and they were double teaming Cup, so that just let Odell was just running wild. They
Yeah, he
couldn't
was
stop
working
him.
them.
The Bengals came out. They tried to run the ball some. It wasn't really working. And the biggest thing I saw is they were trying to get the ball out of Burrow's hands really quick, which is like great. Like you have to do that because the Rams defense was coming after him all day. Problem with that is that's not really how the Bengals offense runs. You know what I mean? They go for the deep
Exactly.
plays and the home runs, and the short passes really just weren't working for them because that's just not what they do.
See, dude, a lot of these playoffs, including the Super Bowl, was all about matchups.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not just seeding and not just favorites, but matchups. And
Right.
you look at team strength versus their weaknesses. The Bengals' strength was the deep ball, their elite receivers, their elite quarterback, and the fact that they can throw it deep, win the 50-50 balls, and get a lot of yards after catch.
Mm-hmm.
But they couldn't get that at all in this game. The pass rush from the Rams, especially from Von Miller, who got a sack, and Aaron Donald, who got a couple sacks, um, that's the strength of the Rams. On top of them having kind of an explosive offense the same way with Cooper Kupp and Odell and Van Jefferson and whatever. But the Rams' real strength of their team is they're great at stopping the run and they're great at sacking your quarterback, and that's exactly what they did in this game. Fun fact: speaking of running, did you know that the Rams now have the record for? Well, they get there's like always records being set pretty much every Super Bowl just because there's so many that people come up with. Um, but they set the record for the least yards per attempt rushing and winning the Super Bowl. They average like 1.9 yards per game or
Yeah,
per rush.
that was a weird thing to me. Sean McVay did not want to give up the run until like the last
Yeah,
drive. He did not want to give it up. Like, if it's not working, dude, just don't. You have Cooper Cup on your team.
yeah. I don't know what was up
Let
with
him
that. I
figure
don't
it
know if
out.
they might have just wanted to keep the Bengals off the field on offense.
Wasn't
Maybe just
working.
because they're kind of getting hot. But either way, they were going 3-0 and maybe getting a first down when they tried running the ball. Like Cam Akers was getting smashed.
Yeah, the run wasn't working for him, and they just, dude, Sean McVay just wouldn't go away for that. Was strange to me. That was
I don't know,
unusual.
man. Can I
Um,
just say, bro, that I'll let you go after this. But that one play call when it was fourth down on the Rams' final drive to hit Cooper Kupp on a jet sweep to get you a yard
yeah,
and a
that
half, that was a ballsy call.
was kind of
I
ballsy.
like it.
Yeah.
But
So the next then in the middle of the game, I think it was obvious like the Bengals could not stop the Rams defensive line at all. They were actually running the ball better than the Rams, I would say. It just felt like they were running the ball a little bit better. Still not having a ton of success. They couldn't really set up the play action. That wasn't really working out for them. Ramsey ended up doing a pretty good job on Jamar Chase. I don't know exactly what his stats were, but he ended up
yeah,
doing a pretty good job. There was that one early call on Ramsey, that 75-yard touchdown that was just completely blown.
yeah, I mean, you're gonna get blown calls every game, but that one was pretty bad, especially because, like, I'm surprised that the NFL just doesn't allow you to challenge a lot of these flags. No calls versus calls. I'm very
Well,
surprised, especially something
they
like that, where it's like,
they did for a couple years. I remember they allowed the challenge of pass interference, and then it was just never changing ever. So they just didn't anymore.
yeah.
So yeah,
Another
so
play is Jamar kind of cooked him on, I think, the Bengals' last drive. Jalen Ramsey just took a dumb route and like tried jumping the pass, I think, and just got cooked for like 15 yards. And then did you see?
the last play, the very
Yes,
last
the
play,
last
yes,
play.
dude,
Jalen
Joe Burrow
Ramsey was
needed
on the
another,
ground.
dude. He
Second,
needed
half a
another,
second.
not even. I was gonna say a third of a second. He needed another He was looking right at it too. All he had to do was get his release off, and that was game. That was
almost
ball
had
game.
it too
He
because
had him.
he was looking at him. Like,
Dude, he had him.
Remember he got kind of spun around
Mm-hmm.
and tried getting the ball out.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the ball doesn't wobble out, behind his head and it wobbles out right here, that might get to Jamar. Because he's wide. There's nobody within 20 yards of him. 25 yards of him.
That was so. I know. I saw that. He had him, dude.
That would have
Wild.
been crazy. That would have been a sulfide.
Can you imagine?
I don't know.
Talk about like heartbreaking for the Rams fans.
That would have just been cool, though.
Dude, I just expected it though. I expected like, it's like, I don't know. I get the same feeling like, when like Tom Brady or Russell Wilson gets the ball down late, you're like, oh, or Drew Brees, whatever. Like, this is ball game. This is ball game. Like,
Yeah.
it's over. I already have that feeling about Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, when he has the opportunity, he definitely capitalizes on it
Mm-hmm.
to lead you
It's
into
just
a
he had
winning
no
drive.
time all night. He had no time
Yeah.
all night.
His stats looked mediocre, but I mean, to be fair, he did get sacked like 7 times.
7 times?
Or 8 or whatever it was.
7.
Like,
7 for 43, and he still had a 101 passer rating. So like,
yeah, and so it's like,
still played pretty well.
yeah, that definitely, 2 factors in the game was definitely the Rams pass rush and definitely Eli Apple, and that was the game.
And you could tell, like, I think it was indicative, like, that Joe Mixon play was pretty cool where he threw the touchdown. But I think that was kind of indicative of what the Bengals coaching staff thought. They were like, it's going to be really hard to get the ball into the end zone normally when he just doesn't have any time. So I think that's why they went with that. But it's just telling. Like, coaches will tell you what they think of their players. And I think that was the Bengals telling you what they thought of their offensive line.
This is just weird because I think the Bengals overall had a better game plan, for sure. But the Rams stars just overcame it.
They just overpowered it. Yeah, Sean McVay, I have not really been impressed with his coaching in big games.
I don't understand because I think his adjustments are very, very good, except in like the primetime games like that.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like, I don't know why he doesn't just, unless it's possible just because he's going against better teams that it like kind of showcase more, where
just gets like
whereas
tight.
he can kind of get away with it. But yeah, I don't know.
It's like with Kyle Shanahan. We were talking about that the other week. Where Kyle Shanahan, just at the end of games, it's weird. Some coaches just get like that, I guess.
Same with Matt LaFleur, bro. What's up with that trio? They all kind of do that, where they just are weird in the fourth quarter and
that whole coaching stuff, dude.
Well, they here's the problem with them is that they get
Andy
super
Reid's
duper conservative.
Yeah.
They get super duper conservative, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when it starts getting close, they still play conservative. And when they go down in the game, they still play conservative. And then when they go down at 10 points, then they start slinging the ball again. Like, I've always said as a rule of thumb, bro, I would not go conservative, or I would look at it like this. I say half a quarter, so like 6-7 minutes or so, 8 minutes, somewhere in there, you should have at least a touchdown lead before you start playing conservative.
Here's the one spot where I would disagree with you is there's an example of this, actually relates to Kyle Shanahan. He in the Super Bowl, which one? 49 was it against the Patriots, or 48? Anyway,
50, 51, 50. Maybe it was 50. I think
50 was
50.
Wait. I don't know. Either way,
Falcons,
regardless,
Patriots.
You know what I mean? They stayed aggressive and passing with Matt Ryan, and that's what got them in trouble because they stayed aggressive, and then the Patriots were able to capitalize. But I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's just tough. Like you gotta dance with the girl that brought you. You know what I mean? Or dance with the guy that brought you. I guess.
Right. But you kind of look at it like that. Like they're up 4 possessions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're still doing that in the second half, which is where it all started. So, like, at that point, you can start being conservative, I think. You're up 4 possessions. And, under a half, like if it starts getting close, within 2-1 score, you kind of go back to that like aggressive play style. And if you turn the ball over, well, guess what? You're going to get the ball back anyway with either it tied or the lead. So it's like not the end of the world.
Right.
And so it's just weird. It might be because they're not as experienced, because they're kind of popping up everywhere. Where Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, Zach Taylor, Sean McVay, all these guys are super young coaches, and they've earned their right to be there. We've seen in the biggest stages that, well, now we've seen that you can win a Super Bowl with them. I think Matt LaFleur and Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay are all kind of like very similar. So I'm saying if you can win with Sean McVay, you can probably win with the other two.
Right.
Maybe Matt LaFleur to a lesser degree, but either way. So you can see that the youth can win a Super Bowl, but that inexperience just really makes some weird situational decisions from the coaching, I think.
Andy Reid's also kind of the same way. Yeah, like he's kind of been that way. I don't know. It's just interesting.
That's Andy Reid, though. Andy Reid just is like chaotic and anarchy all the time.
Well, and Mike McCarthy, bro. Just kidding.
Well, he's genuinely just like not a smart guy. So
that could be true.
I just don't think he's smart.
Oh, dude, Eli Apple got roasted, bro.
Yeah. Good, dude. Good. I like that, dude. Hopefully he gets cut. Dude, the Bengals are a cornerback and 2 tackles away from being right back there.
And a guard and probably a center, too.
Well, yeah, but especially if you have tackles to pass the ball.
But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he was getting cooked online, dude. It's like I've never seen it so unanimous that the whole league hates a player. It's literally everyone.
Dude, where did that even come from? That he just started talking shit to every franchise he's been on, bro. Like, okay, so he was a first-round pick, right? So he had high expectations coming into the league. I think
was he picked by the Saints?
I think it was either the Giants. I think he might have been the Giants.
And then he went to the Saints.
Yeah. So either way, so he had high expectations coming into the league. And he's not fulfilled those expectations. So in turn, he's gotten released from some franchises. He's gotten a lot of crap thrown at him. He gets targeted a lot in games because he's not that guy. And sometimes you just got to live with it. So I don't know. The expectations on him are super high because he was a high draft pick, but the reality is he's probably at best a second or third best cornerback on a championship team, and that's how it is. Like so, you can't put him on Cooper Kupp, even double teamed, and expect him to succeed.
No. So that's what I was just gonna go to. So first, obviously Cooper Kupp, Super Bowl MVP. He was absolutely. It could have gone to him or Aaron Donald. Like it could have gone either way. But Kupp was just uncoverable, especially on that last drive. They just weren't doing anything with him. But there was a lot, dude. Was there like 3 PI and holdings in a row?
There was for sure 2 on that final drive. It was
insane.
So one of them, I thought was actually like you could argue a pass interference, like the one where he targeted Kupp in the end zone. I think you could argue was pass interference. But that holding call on,
that was 3 in a row.
Who was that on? Remember, it was on Logan Wilson, but I don't know who he was guarding. It might have been Kupp. I don't know. Either way, that one was very
Jefferson. I think it was Van Jefferson.
Maybe. Okay. But that was very questionable, especially because that set him up. That would have been 4th down if they don't call that.
Well, and here's what I don't get. So I don't necessarily have it's probably a penalty, but they weren't calling anything all night. They weren't calling anything all night. Like you look at that T. Higgins touchdown. That was ridiculous. But they just weren't calling anything. They'd thrown I think 3 or 4 flags up until that point total. And at the end of the game, at some point you got to play through contact and just let the players play.
Especially because a lot of times in big playoff games like that, they'll call flags all the way through the game, In the final couple
And
drives, they'll let him play.
right, but there was the opposite in this game. Just
Yeah.
let them play,
Just-
dude.
Yeah,
Let the
for
players
sure.
decide the game. The refs
I
shouldn't
could
have.
agree with that. I could agree
Yeah.
with that. Now, I guess you could say that, like, one or two of those flags kind of cancel out with the face mask, which is whatever.
Right.
But the fact that it was 3 straights are a little ridiculous.
Also, the Rams still don't get to complain about pass interference calls. I don't think the statute of limitations is up yet. They got at least 3 or 4 more years before that thing goes away. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
Yeah, I know.
I was referencing the PI call against the Saints that got them to the Super Bowl the last time they went. So,
Exactly. Dude, that
which was
sucks.
just
Drew
as
Brees,
bad as it could get.
Drew
That was
Brees,
his-
Tom Brady, bro. We missed out on Drew Brees, Tom Brady. You got Jared
No.
Goff, Tom Brady that scored a combined 16 points.
Can you
Ooh.
imagine Drew Brees versus Tom Brady? How sick that would have been.
Saints might have won that game. The Patriots really weren't
know.
playing that great.
Their
Like, on
defense.
offense, yeah, their defense was really good, but I expect
Plus
Drew
the-
Brees to put up more than 3 points in the Super Bowl. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, he'd figure it out. Like, Tom Brady figured it out at the end of that game. Drew Brees would figure it out. Oh, you're right. Yeah.
But so about Cooper Kupp. So this is what I was talking about. My little hot take, and I guess I don't know if it's a hot take, but I've seen some people say this. But I think Cooper Kupp has an argument that he had the greatest individual season out of any player in NFL history, not just receiver.
Well, yeah. So he's the only player to have the receiver triple crown. So Super Bowl MVP, yards leader, and touchdown leader in a single season. And he's the first one to do it in one season. The only other to do it was Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice did it in his career. Cooper Kupp
Right.
did it in this season.
In a season, bro. And he was what? How many yards away was he from the all-time receiving record?
I'd be surprised if he didn't have it. He had almost 2,500 yards.
Oh, no, for the whole season, yes. But for the regular season.
Oh, I think he was 17 or 16 away from the single season record.
Really?
Yeah. He
And that
definitely
was
got
with
it.
less targets.
Right. He had like 13 less targets and had like 16 less yards. So that's insane. Either way, he had, in total, I want to say he had 24 touchdowns, almost 2,500 yards, and like 100 and almost 60 catches. But you want to hear something also insane? Is that Matthew Stafford, in the
Wait.
playoffs, Matthew
Yeah.
Stafford in the playoffs to Cooper Kupp didn't have an incompletion to him in the fourth quarter.
What? Like, he targeted him and it was...
He targeted him and he caught it every single catch in the fourth quarter in the playoffs. All 4 games. I think they were like 15 for 15 in the fourth quarter.
Dang.
Think about it. He, in the divisional round, had the biggest catch of that game by far. Remember where they to set up that game-winning field goal against the Bucks? Just an absolute bomb to Cooper Kupp that set up the game-winning field goal. He had the game-winning, less than a minute, give you the lead touchdown in the Super Bowl, which won him the MVP. He had the most yards out of any receiver ever in like a single season, counting the playoffs. He established himself, and I think me and you agree on this one, as the best receiver in the NFL.
Probably.
For
Yeah.
sure. Oh,
So-
so he was the only player, actually, let me think back quick. He was the only player to win the Triple Crown, Super Bowl MVP, and Offensive Player of the Year. That's what it was.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. So he was second. He's second in yards in the playoffs all time, or like in a single season. So
in a single
Larry
season,
Fitz.
so not just okay.
Larry Fitz had
Really?
546 in 2008.
So that was the year they made the Super Bowl against the Steelers.
Yeah, they
right?
lost to the Steelers.
I was
had
thinking this, by the way.
478.
Just bringing up the Steelers. How did Big Ben not get an MVP in the Super Bowl? Both his receivers did. Like, that's so weird to me.
Yeah.
And they were 2 different receivers, too. It was Hines Ward and who was the other one?
Jamar Chase was 11th on the list.
So, bro, I think there's an argument that it's probably like you could argue Cooper Kupp, you could argue T.J. Watt, you could argue Michael Strahan or Tom Brady that year they won in the that year he won MVP and they went undefeated or whatever, besides losing in the Super Bowl. That those four are probably the best single seasons out of any player ever. But to cap it off, he won the Super Bowl MVP. He won the Super Bowl to cap it off.
That too. No, I agree. He was phenomenal this season. Did you see there was a Davante Adams tweet going around from 2020, early 2020, where he said that Cooper Kupp is the most underrated receiver in the league. So, good take by Davante Adams, dude, I guess.
Players know who's good and who's not.
Yeah, they do.
So that's why that's why I've never understood this. Why don't they leave voting for like offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, MVP, coach of the year up to the players?
Because players would vote for people on their teams a lot.
I don't know about that.
I think they would. It's like the All-Star voting, dude. Like the players in the NBA got to pick, and they all voted for like Carmelo.
I definitely think though that people would vote for Aaron Rodgers. Like, okay, Raiders players would more likely vote for Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady than Bucks and Packers would vote for Derek Carr for MVP. And so I think that all in all, each team, each player would probably, I think whoever should have got whatever award is more likely than not to get that actual award.
I see what you're saying. But yeah, I think that's tough. And also, like they would vote for their position groups, I feel like, more often too. Think about that.
But even so, I definitely think it's more likely that
I think it'd be better if it. Sorry, go ahead.
I definitely think it's more likely that a player on the MVPs, so a player on, let's just say Aaron Rodgers, he won the MVP this year, right? I think it's more likely that a Cardinals player would vote for Aaron Rodgers than a Packers player would vote for Kyler Murray for the MVP. Is what I was getting at.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. So
I think whoever deserves it probably would win the award.
You're probably right. But I don't know. I just think problematic. Maybe if you had former players vote.
That'd be cool too.
I think that would be more representative. Also, former players should... Dude, Hall of Fame voters should be people who are in the Hall of Fame. I know that's kind of irrelevant, but that's what it should be.
Hall of Fame voters are so brain dead. Like,
about tradition.
Where do they pick them? Is it like previous owners or like?
I don't know. It's like Rich Eisen, or not? Yeah, like he has a vote.
But like Chris Broussard has like voting for the NBA Hall of Fame.
I thought this was MLB.
Chris Broussard is the.
No, you're right. He has NBA.
Or is it awards or is it Hall of Fame? No, I don't remember. Either way, why does he have more credibility than a previous player?
I don't know.
That's a good point by you. I agree with that. That players definitely. Writers. I don't know, man. Just weird. But either way, so anything else to add on Cooper Kupp?
Rodney Harrison has a vote. People like him, Robert King, Bill Polian. I look at people who you would know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Michael Strahan has a vote. Marissa Thompson.
That makes sense.
Mike Tirico.
That also kind of makes sense. Okay.
Like
let me ask you quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have anything else to add on Cooper Kupp or no?
No.
He's really good. I like the beard.
The Hall of Famer.
He's already. On pace. He's on pace for sure. Aaron Donald. I think. Well, after the game, I was saying I thought he was going to win MVP. I'm not mad that it went to Cooper Kupp. He was insane. And
deserved.
honestly, Cooper Kupp was more of an MVP for the entire playoffs, even if
Mm-hmm.
I think Aaron Donald had, I don't know, a better Super Bowl performance. So I'm completely fine with Cooper Kupp getting it. It is what it is. Aaron Donald winning the Super Bowl, especially dominating in the fourth quarter, that final drive of the game, getting the game-winning play, dude. And on top of that,
Go
it's
on.
the fact that he is the best defensive tackle, so the best at his position ever, right?
Yeah,
Like
probably.
he's an end. He's basically a defensive end that's elite at stopping the run on the interior of the defensive line, which is just absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Like we haven't seen this in a long time. Ever
No,
since
I would say he's probably up there with BJ Raji.
yeah, BJ. No, I would say the only other person that comes close is that Vikings defensive tackle from like the 2000s. What's his name? Big dude, Hall of Famer.
I would say you look at like guys like him. Hold on, let me find that guy's name. Hall of Fame tackles. Okay. Well, I would say like guys like Joe Green. Is that who you're thinking of?
I think he's an end on the Steelers. Or Jared Allen, that's what I was thinking of, but he's an edge. He's an edge too.
I would
So
say
like,
like
there's nobody even like him.
so Aaron Donald. I say Joe Green. So these are guys I was forgetting about. Warren Sapp is up there. Dan Hampton probably is up there. Those are guys I'm thinking of.
So just in terms of his legacy, he's easily to me a top 10 NFL player ever,
Mm-hmm.
including every position. I think being the best at your position warrants you a top 10 spot ever. And on top of that, I would say, in my opinion, he's second to Lawrence Taylor and the greatest defensive player ever. I would put him above Reggie White. I would put him above Deion Sanders and Ed Reed, and I would put him above Bruce Allen or Bruce Smith, like whatever that Bears dude is.
Like there's Mike Singletary.
Who's the guy you're saying?
The guy was Richard Dent.
Yeah, above him. Like the fact that he generates almost the best pressure in NFL history from an interior spot is just insane.
It is pretty ridiculous.
Like you can't go right or left.
See, what's interesting though is I don't think he was the best defensive player in the league this year.
No, obviously not.
TJ Watt was just ridiculous.
Obviously not. But you look over the totality since he's been in the league, he's been the best defensive player.
You're right. You're correct.
Like he was ranked number 1, number 2 in the top 100 almost every year. Like it was either him or it was either Tom Brady or Mahomes or Rodgers or him, and that was it for the top 2.
Trying to think. Here's the thing that I'm trying to think of, because obviously he's been the best in the league for like at defense for quite a few years. But like there was years where Khalil Mack was better. When he was on the Raiders.
Okay. So
there was years where JJ Watt was better. No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to think like all time, like to say he's like I'm trying to think if he's like to say he's the best. Which no doubt I would definitely say he's top 5 easily. But I'm trying to think like to be the best. Probably. There's been quite a few years where he's probably been the best for like the last 5 years. Except for like
defensive player of the year 3 years. I think it was it 3 in a row? Right. 2 in a row?
And
another one?
So unless you got anything more to say on him, that's kind of a segue into that's where I would talk about Matthew Stafford, and that's the argument I would make with him. And so people are now obviously talking about his Hall of Fame, chances. And I personally think he gets in. He has all the stats. Being on Detroit, the pushback is he's never really been the best at his position in any given year.
Here's the thing: is that when we're talking about Hall of Famers, let me just ask you: if Mahomes retired today, would he be in the Hall of Fame? I would say no.
No,
right?
You're right. It's about longevity.
It's about predicting and assuming, right?
Right.
So I would say today, Matt Stafford's not a Hall of Famer. I think he's bound for the Hall of Fame, and I think if he plays another 5 years and probably, I don't know, does something else in his career, like right now, he's got the best. What he's got going for him is he averages the most yards per game ever, right? That's his like thing. Is he has a lot of yards for how like less time he's played, how little time he's played. If he does something else in the league, whether it be win an MVP, whether it make a Super Bowl, obviously win a Super Bowl, whether it be like first team All Pro, just something else in the league, like a league leader in passing or whatever it is, I think he gets in, especially if he finishes his career at like almost 40, like most quarterbacks are nowadays. I think for sure he's a lock. But as of right now, I would say he's just on the outside looking in.
Really close.
If he retired today, I would say he probably doesn't get in. So that's where I'm with like Richard Sherman and saying he's not a Hall of Famer. But I don't think that's what people are really talking about. I think that they're just assuming when he retires, he's going to get in. I think that's I think that's what you're saying for the most part.
Yeah.
Maybe you think he's a Hall of Famer right now, but I think
it's really close.
Right.
I think if he retired today, it's really close.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
People look at situations.
I think he definitely will be by the end of his career. If I had to bet, I would definitely bet that he gets in by the end of his career.
People look at situations and understand that he's playing for like the worst franchise ever. What are you gonna do?
Right. Dude, by the way, this is random, but Devin Hester didn't get in.
Well, wasn't he just not first ballot? Well, I guess
this was his first. This was his first ballot, and he was a finalist. So he'll get in.
He'll get in. Yeah.
Also, that's kind of stupid. I think like the whole first ballot segment. That's kind of stupid. Like because they place precedence over being like a first ballot Hall of Famer. Dude, you either are a Hall of Famer or you're not. So I think that's kind of stupid. But that's a whole nother topic. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with the limit on how many people they can get in and all that. I don't know. I don't understand it.
Anyway.
I'm not a Hall of Fame voter, unfortunately.
So, unless...
Well, I just want to say, for Matt Stafford, I'm just really glad that he got one. And you look at the NFC next year. So this is assuming Rodgers leaves. This is assuming, like, the Seahawks are still not insane. Maybe they even lose Russell Wilson. San Francisco is going to take a step back. Who's competing with them in the NFC? Dallas? I mean,
you got to consider Justin Fields next year, so there's that. Bears. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably the 49ers, well, no, they might take a step back.
Right. I think they're going, like, maybe the Cardinals. Maybe. And we can't really decide on this now because we have to wait through the draft and free agency.
Right. And we don't know where everybody's going to go. Because Tampa Bay gets Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson, and all of a sudden they're right there again. You know what I mean?
I would say I'm more confident in the Rams repeating next year, at least winning the NFC, than I was with the Bucs repeating this year.
I would agree with that.
Until I see something shift in the NFC, I just don't see anybody beating them.
I would agree with that.
And on top of that, their offense is probably going to get better with an extra year. And they didn't have their second best receiver, who's a Pro Bowler, if healthy.
Yeah.
Didn't have Robert Woods.
Well, I think their second best receiver is now Odell, but yeah.
Yeah, if Odell plays like Odell, but like he has.
But now he's tore his ACL, so
yeah.
Who knows when he's gonna be back?
But they were missing, I would say, this season their second best receiver, who Was on pace for 1,000 yards. Like,
What did Joe Burrow hurt, by the way?
I don't know. He didn't have surgery or anything, so it must not have been like a super insane injury. He probably just twisted something or maybe got a cramp or something. I don't know. But did you see that shot? Like, he was in pain when
It
he went
looked
down.
bad.
Yeah,
it
I
looked
thought he
bad.
was. But we were talking. I was gonna say if he's done, that sucks for Stafford because if he wins, it's never gonna like nobody would give him credit for it, which sucks.
Yeah, but he was fine. Okay, so the last 5 minutes. Let's get to the most important part: the halftime show.
That was funny. I liked it.
It was good.
I was sad though because I think Kendrick Lamar is insane. I really like Kendrick Lamar.
That song
and
was.
I thought he had the worst part.
He did. And of course, like, so it was focused on Dr. Dre, of course, like, because
Yeah.
whatever. What the heck was he doing during Eminem's song?
Yeah, I don't know.
What was he doing? Was he supposed to be like on the soundboard? Was that like?
I don't know what he was doing.
I think that's what it was supposed to look like. Like he was like
Dude.
producing the show.
Okay, well, who was your favorite from the halftime show? Let me ask you. I know who mine was.
So
I know who mine
I don't know.
was.
Like I like Eminem the most, but that's not my favorite song. Like that's a song he had to do probably because not all of his songs can really go on the radio. Like if he did the real Slim Shady, that would have been just iconic. But there's no way he could do that. So honestly, Snoop Dogg was hilarious.
Dude,
he was just
he
all
was
over the place.
vibing. Did you see he was
50 Cent though was really funny too.
Did you see Snoop? He smacked the joint like 30 seconds before he started
Oh,
singing.
yeah, I
like
saw that.
on the they were like in that little house or whatever they were in. That's such a Snoop Dogg thing. But I would have to say
50 Cent was kind of funny.
My favorite was definitely $1.50 hanging upside down.
Dude, that was pretty funny.
Dude, they literally must have had like 1,400-pound binder chain holding him up because there's no way.
Funny. Well, I didn't get that. Was that a reference to something? I think I saw it was a reference to like his old video.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a video or like a poster, an album cover or whatever, but that's what he did in his original song.
And then people were like getting all upset, or like not upset, but they were like, "Ooh, Eminem went against the NFL and took a knee." First of all, like I think that was just. Are we even sure like he was doing that as a protest, or was he just doing that? That's the first thing. Second of all, the NFL came out and said they like knew about it ahead of time, so I didn't really get why people were upset about that. I didn't.
People need to complain about something. Can I just say the chick? I didn't even know who that was.
I had no idea who that was.
But I thought her part was okay.
Also, I don't really know why Kendrick Lamar was there. Like, I like Kendrick Lamar, but I don't understand why he was there.
No, yeah, right. It kind of had like a classic rap theme.
And then his song
like
was
early
weird.
2000s. And then he like, I don't know. I think he had the worst part, unfortunately, because I like Kendrick. But bro, my grandpa was so mad that they did that.
I just texted that they had Kendrick or that they did that halftime show period.
That they did rap for the halftime show.
I texted my dad because I knew it. I went, "How do you like the halftime?" He just responds, "Garbage." Grandma, Grandpa, and Mom thought it was good though.
Yeah, I don't know. Boomers are funny, bro.
Yeah.
My grandpa was mad. He does not like rap music in the slightest.
That's pretty funny.
But dude,
I liked it. I don't think it was the best of all time, like some people were saying.
No, for sure.
Like for sure. Honestly, I liked Bruno Mars's from a couple years ago during the Seattle.
Bruno Mars's was good. I thought Katy Perry's was good. Whatever that was, 2015. I thought it was cool. They had the big tiger. That's what I remember from that one.
People say like, yeah, Prince and Michael Jackson.
Prince. We weren't allowed to see that.
But yeah, I don't know. I liked it, and I thought it was good. It would have been more fun, like, because obviously they couldn't do some of their songs that was coming. But yeah, so we are going to be right back with hour 2. So stay with us, and we'll see you on the other side of the break.